So after much waiting and speculation, we finally got to see what Sauber's going to be called next year, and it's not pretty. By the way, this is a quick video, so I just wanted to give you my straightforward reaction on this. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Stake F1 team kick Sauber. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. That is the most godforsaken, awful, wishy-washy, dodgy advertising name I've ever seen in F1, especially as we were teased with these news reports featuring the Sauber engineering logo, and there I was thinking we might be treated for another 2 years of solid Sauber just the way it was just before Audi gobbled it up again in 2026. It would have been great. Sauber, a great F1 name, a great heritage, and some great liveries as well, and also the last of the early 90s privateers as well. It's still amazing to think that they had Red Bull and Petronas as sponsors at the same time years ago. And how is Sauber going to finally bow out of the sport for one last time with this mishmash horrible name? Now, in anything to do with news on this channel, I always try and look at it from a couple of perspectives. I always try and look at things from the fans' point of view and also from the business side, which also involves the teams and Formula One on the whole, things like that. But in terms of this situation, I think what Sauber thinks and its sponsors of how this will be a success versus what the fans think of this, the difference is going to be enormous. Clearly the sponsors and the team think it's going to be a great idea because they thought of it, but the fans, it's going to be really interesting to see what they think of it. But as a fan, the name, let's face it, is vomit-inducing. There's no other way around it, but also I'm not completely surprised that they've gone and sold all the title sponsor places. Sauber have been named mercenaries for a while now, running as Alfa Romeo for the last few years, whilst having nothing to do with the Alfa Romeo team in the 1950s. They've never been a team that's exactly been flush with cash, and sometimes rebranding the team and selling the title rights for that team is a great way to fill that budget gap. But you know, we've all sold the naming rights to our stadium in Football Manager when times are tough, haven't we? So there you go. But here's the thing, it's not the words in the title that are awful themselves, it's just the order in which they're displayed. If the team was launched as Stake Kick Sauber F1 team, I could deal with that, but as money comes first with this sort of thing, we're left with the title that we were given. Obviously here Stake coughed up the most money, so the name goes first, and I'm not completely sure yet because I haven't read all the marketing gumph, but F1 commentary will probably refer to them as Stake F1 team in 2024. I'm not sure of this, but I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. Kick paid a little bit less, but still more than the other, so they got the naming rights on the chassis, which will be called the Kick Sauber C44 next year. Now, to be honest, I'm not totally up to speed with some of the sponsors we see in F1 at the moment. A lot of them seem very boring, soul-sucking, and cold, but for those who don't know, Stake.com is a online gambling and betting website, and Kick is a online gaming streaming website. Oh, I do miss tobacco advertising. But it will be interesting to see what happens with the Stake.com branding in countries where this advertising is banned. Because like tobacco companies back in the day, they couldn't have their name on the car if the race was held in a country where tobacco advertising was illegal. Now at the 2023 Australian, Spanish, Belgian and Qatar Grand Prix, the Alfa Romeos ran the Kick branding instead of the Stake branding. They'll go a step forward in 2024 and the team will apparently run as Kick Sauber Formula One team at those same races. But the thing is, this doesn't seem legal. It's either fine now or a lot of brown envelopes have been exchanged, but either way it does sound like it's not quite right. But the thing is, if any good is going to come from this team with a diabolical name, we might actually see a good livery out of this. Stake.com's branding is mainly dark blue, white and black, but Kick is neon green and black, and I do like neon green. So the Stake Sauber, whatever it's called, team might actually redeem itself by featuring a car which is black or dark blue with some neon green flashes. We already saw Alfa Romeo roll out the green sometimes in 2023, so I think, we might see some more of that. It's a colour scheme which has been on and off and in and around motorsport for a while now, but when it has come around, I think it's looked fantastic having neon green and then black or dark blue there and thereabouts. It's a combination which has always, I think, looked good. It would make a nice change as well, and I think it would really stand out on the grid. By the way, let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on the livery. But it's when you look at the business side of things, you start to kind of understand why they've gone about this rebranding and done the title sponsorship in the way that they've done it. And I think there's 3 reasons for this. Number 1, fill the budget gap left by Alfa Romeo. Number 2, keep the team in the black until Alfa Romeo takes over in 2026. And number 3, give themselves a backup plan just in case Audi decide to pull out and not take part in the sport altogether, just so they've got something to fall back on as well. Sauber learned this lesson last time when BMW decided to pull out of the sport at short notice back in 2010. So yeah, bit of experience in dealing with manufacturers there. So when you're left to your own devices and you've got to kind of keep everything in order until the cavalry arrives in 2026, why not sell everything? Why not make a bit of money if everything is supposedly for sale? Naming rights to literally anything and everything is worth money in F1 now, so why not flog it? Sell parts of the team name, chassis number, all sorts of stuff. You know, I bet there's a company somewhere who are damn proud to be the official urinal cake supplier of McLaren. So yeah, in a true Del Boy fashion, if it's worth something, sell the name, and then Audi can come along in 26 and clean things up if they want. But there's the kicker as well. Audi might not come along at all. Apparently now under a different management to those who agreed to join F1 originally, Audi is now rumoured to be wondering if this is really the best course of action for them. But with these rumours, the new Audi CEO reaffirmed Audi's commitment to F1, so everything should be fine, right? Well, even with this, I'm still not sure, because all it takes with them is a slight economic downturn, a decline in car sales, and they'll pull the plug. And this is why I'm a bit suspicious about car manufacturers entering the sport and taking over teams, because it's like they can leave the sport or enter it whenever it suits them. And for them, it's simply just a matter of flogging cars, and whether the sport is absolutely in their blood, like you find with Ferrari and McLaren, or even like it was at Lotus, if it's not working out for them, they're just going to get out. And just going back to the whole livery sponsor thing, would it have killed Audi just to put a cheeky logo on the car for 2024, just to reaffirm their commitment to the team and say that we're in this with you all the way and we're going to be fighting together in 2026 onwards? Yeah, just an extra sign of commitment. And especially now that Alfa Romeo is gone, yeah, just to have that manufacturer on the side it would just firm things up. So I guess we'll hear more about the rebranding in the coming days, but that name, Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber, still just, it doesn't sit right with me. And especially right now, just because it's brand new. It's not a name that was carefully crafted with emotion or passion. It's a purely money-driven result, and it really shows. It's not like some names in the past which have made sense, but still taken some getting used to. There isn't any grace or flow to the wording, and ultimately, it just doesn't sound good either. And at first I was thinking, why couldn't they just have some integrity and rename the team Sauber, just like the good old days, for these last 2 seasons? But the thing is, today in F1, for teams of this size, you cannot afford to have integrity. There's a quote that says you can either have money or integrity, but rarely both. And yeah, that really kind of suits this situation, I think. I do hope that despite all the money that Stake and Kick paid for all this, that throughout the F1 world and the commentary as well, the team is still referred to as Sauber. It's like, yeah, you can buy whatever it says on the Excel spreadsheet or the PowerPoint presentation, but you can't buy the culture, especially that's surrounding a team. And I just hope we hear that Sauber name a little while longer, just before it disappears forever. So thanks very much, guys. I'd love to hear your comments on this and see what your thoughts are on the new name, whether you like it or hate it. Either way, let me know. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Paul. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.